Hello. We're back.
Guess who's back? Back again. Catch is back. With no friends.
Oh, no. No.
Truth hurts.
True. Sorry. Cancel too many people. We cancel all of our friends. That's us now.
Yes, indeedy. Saying hi to all the peoples. How we doing? We doing okay?
I don't know if I should say that in the show or in the pre-show.
I guess it depends on how many people you want to hear it. If you just want a couple people to hear it, you do it here. If you want a lot of people to hear it, you do it in the show. Depends on how much.
I had a bad week in the beginning, and then I had a good week. So it was mixed emotions.
I feel that. I feel that 100%. I
guess
I'll
just tell the pre-show people because I don't feel like talking about it on the podcast.
All right.
I went on vacation this week, which is why I could not do Gadgetcast, the last Gadgetcast. I was on vacation.
Cool.
A well-deserved vacation for a week at the beach. It was really fun. But the start of that vacation was awful, Travis.
What did you do? What happened?
I had an iJustine experience at the beginning of the week. Me and iJustine shared a similar fate this week.
What happened?
Our cars got broken into.
What?
Yeah. Someone broke into my car, smashed my window, stole some stuff.
Oh my gosh. Where was your car?
It was parked. I don't want to say where, but it was just parked.
No, I mean at your house or at somewhere else?
No, somewhere else.
So in other words, was it with you on vacation?
No. So it was like the day before vacation. We had so it was really bad because we had a tropical storm over here, and someone broke my window during a tropical storm. So not only did people steal my stuff, but then like rain came into my car. So it was a bad start to the vacation.
Did you know about it? So you knew about it before you left from vacation?
The day before, basically.
Yikes.
Yeah.
So you were storing your car somewhere. Usually when you store your car somewhere, you're hoping it to be safe. And you immediately regret the decision, as it is obviously not safe.
Yes.
Bruh. How much was the damage?
The damage wasn't too bad. It was only $250. It was just a broken window. The things they stole were pretty inconsequential to, file like an insurance claim. So maybe like $100 at max, like $200 worth of stolen stuff. Thankfully, they didn't go like steal my registration or anything like that. Yeah. So,
or even the car itself.
They did steal my. I was gonna bring on my vacation. They stole my Soundcore Bluetooth speaker, so I was kind of bad. My flare.
You know what they're doing around here? I don't know if they're doing it out there. They're like stealing catalytic converters. From your car, like outside of malls and stuff. So you go inside. Or you stay at a hotel, you come out and your car doesn't work.
That sucks.
That's like next level petty. It's crazy, man. I'm sorry to hear that. I don't really go anywhere, so and there's nothing in my car other than the carts. I don't keep anything in my car anymore. It's just not really smart because people break in for no reason. So
yeah, that was the first time I ever had anything like that happen. So
that's terrible. I'm sorry, man. But then the rest of it was good.
Yeah, everything was fine after that. I guess it just sucked to like. Oh, I'm gonna go on vacation. I can't wait to like de-stress, and then like stressful event like happens like right before.
Right before you go.
Oh my god, why?
That sucks, man. I'm sorry to hear that, man. That can definitely bring things down. But at the end of the day, and it's easier said for someone like me, it didn't happen to. Is like, I mean, it's just things, right? No one's hurt and all that stuff. So I guess that's the way of looking at it.
Yeah, everything's fine. And again, $250 for damage. It's like, all right, it's not like the end of the world. It's fine. But,
could have been worse. Could have been worse.
But I know it's happened to iJustine too. As soon as I got back from vacation, I went on Twitter. I basically stayed off of Twitter like the whole week for the most part. And I came back and I look at Twitter. And one of the first things I see is iJustine. Her car got broken in too. Same kind of.
Look at that right now. Car in Oahu. So is that in? Oh, is she in Hawaii?
Sounds like it.
Decided to Google me that's sad. Oh, she is in Hawaii. Okay, I see that right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's sad. That's I mean, she's such a nice person too.
If you look at iJustine's Twitter and see the damage she posted, it's pretty much exactly what happened to me. Rear window smashed.
Yeah,
took stuff. That's it.
Oh. Well, I'll send her. That's. Did you tell her that you had the same thing?
No, I didn't. I was going to, but I don't know. I feel like iffy, like broadcasting, like, hey, this happened to me. Maybe I should have did the same thing. I should have been like, if you stole my stuff, please give it back.
Yeah, no kidding.
I'm an influencer. No.
I'm an influencer. You can't do that to me. It's not
right.
They
didn't like she got her like a ID stolen, and that's what she wanted back because she's obviously traveling, so that's going to be difficult. I didn't get any of that stuff stolen. I just had some like little stuff in my back seat that basically got taken. Thankfully, it looked like a pretty like hit and run. The alarm system probably went off, and they got scared. They didn't want to search the car any further than the thing they saw in the back seat.
Yeah, just grab stuff and then go.
Yeah. They stole like a Bluetooth speaker, some Under Armour sneakers that I use for running. So nothing crazy really, and some I think some like food in the back, but it's fine.
All right. Well, let's start the podcast. You got everything set up? We can talk. We can try to get into fun stuff. And I'll tell you my frustrating stuff that's not as bad.
Yeah. But other than that, trip was good.
Yeah.
Got to go to
the air tags and track them down.
I did have an air tag in my car, so if they stole the car, I could have done that.
That would be good. Yeah. If I would look at it, what is this thing?
Also, my thankfully my dad was able to look after the car and get it all like fixed while I was on vacation. He offered to do that for me, so that was nice of him.
Cool.
But I found out he was like, because I had to give him my keys, and my keys have an air tag on it. When I came back, he's like, your keys kept beeping every time I picked them up. I'm like, huh? And then I realized when the air tags are left behind, and they have that safety feature where they beep and like vibrate. So that's what was happening. I'm like, oh, it's good to know. At least that works.
Yeah. No, I forgot all about that because when I did that test, I think it was a couple days before I was going to do that. Actually, where is my? Oh, I think it's on my electric scooter. I think. I forgot about that.
All my settings are really messed up. I don't know. I was gone for a week. I don't think I have the Justine space travel thing ready to go. Why is this?
What do you mean? How is that possible? You don't have the intro ready?
On.
That doesn't make any sense. Are you talking about in the road?
Yeah.
How is that possible? It wouldn't go anywhere. That doesn't even make any sense.
I don't know.
How do you literally not have the intro? That doesn't make sense.
This is weird.
Like no part of that makes any kind of sense.
Hold on.
Yep. Let me go back to your forecast. I don't want to falsely advertise what's going on here.
This file couldn't be opened because it's not in the correct format.
What? The intro?
Yeah.
Do you have another file somewhere you can just re-upload?
Yeah, I do. Hold on. I have the old one.
All right, I'm going to go grab my water right quick.
Huh.
All right. Testing the intro. I hope everyone's having a great week and that you're having fun. If you're interested, I've been playing Grand Theft Auto Roleplay on my Twitch channel. I think the link is probably not in the description. It's just Travis MCP on Twitch if you're interested. Come check me out. Probably playing more video games on my Twitch channel for now. That'd be nice. Greg, for those that are just coming in, is checking the intro, which is broken at some point.
Hello?
Hey, Steven. Sorry about you had a bad week, but it's great that you are enjoying watching us. That's really nice.
Aw.
Appreciate that. You ready to go?
Yeah.
All right. You sure? Sounds good?
Yeah, I don't think the Justine bit's going to be in this one though, but it's fine.
Okay, that's fine. All right, here we go. GadgetCast in 3, 2, 1, record.
Discovery's 4 computers now have primary control of critical vehicle functions.
3, 2, 1, 0, 0.
Hello, world. Thank you for joining us on a Sunday or a Monday or Tuesday or whenever. It's the GadgetCast. My name is Gregory McFadden, joined always with my co-host with matching blue shirts, Travis MCP.
Space traveling all the way through to the newest episode of GadgetCast. Yes, we were off a week, but we're back. So if you're listening to this on the auto podcast, thank you so much for hanging tight with us. And of course, if you're here live, it's good to see y'all.
Yeah. You know, I'm all for the live people. Actually, I'm for every. You know, if you're listening after the fact, it's good. Sorry for last week. I took a vacation, much needed vacation. If you're here for the pre-show, you would have heard all about some parts before the vacation. I'm not going to talk about. But other than that, vacation was good. Was on the beach, Travis, all week. So I think I should be well rested, but I just got back the other day, so I'm still kind of a little tired. But
you feel recharged
for this week of like tackling content. I think I'm going to be refreshed, come back with a fresh perspective on everything, which is good because I felt like I haven't taken a break in like a long time, and I'm excited to get back to work. Where like this past month, I was kind of like, you know, it's kind of like a grind of like, let's make a video, let's do this, let's do that.
Yeah.
Like, I needed the break for sure.
Yeah, I need to. Well, I mean, of course, we're coming into Apple season, really, in no very definitive ways. But before we get there, there's some other things that have been going on. But yeah, I feel you on that. Like, I'm just ready for the grind because, you know, I had so much time kind of away from YouTube. Doesn't mean I was away from everything else, but yeah, I'm trying to get myself set up, trying to make some changes and get this channel going again because it's kind of dead. I'm kind of pulling. Feels like I'm pulling a big heavy weight to get this stupid thing kicked off again. It's just taking forever.
Yeah. But, you know, have you ever like what's like the longest, or I guess like the most recent break you've taken from like social media?
Oh man, I never do. I mean,
never.
Talking about it's like it never and when I had like regular full-time 9-to-5 jobs, like I would never take vacations and stuff. The only time I'd ever take any type of time off is usually at the end of the year, right around the time of my birthday, and I almost never went anywhere.
Yeah.
So I'm not really a vacation guy. It's not because I don't want to. It's just that it just doesn't happen for me. So I don't know. Maybe that'll change as I get older. I mean, I would like to appreciate.
Yeah, you know, well, I'm very similar to you. I'm not a vacation guy. I rarely, if ever, go on vacation. Even when I worked like a regular job, like I never really planned like long trips. I'd mostly like take like a day off or something like that. But I never really went like, let me take a whole week off, plan everything, just, you know, get out there and relax, not pay attention to anything. And with this trip, that kind of changed a bit for me. I actually like took a whole week off. And on YouTube, that's scary to do. I didn't even upload any videos this entire week. If you've noticed, like, you know, I've been away. And I stayed off of social media, which was also weird because I really didn't peek at it too much, you know, maybe like occasionally for like a second. But even then, I think like, I don't know, I spent like maybe like 10 minutes on Twitter max during my vacation.
Good for you. Wow.
Yeah. And it was weird because like, I'm sure like stuff happened and I've just been like so tuned out to the point where like, Travis like messaged me like before, like an hour before going, any topics? I'm just like, I don't know. I really don't know what has happened this past week. And I kind of got to read up on it. I think I saw some like interesting like Apple leaks actually happen while I was on vacation. I don't know if it's too late for me to talk about that on my channel, but yeah, it was nice to actually like take a week off, not pay any attention, not have a care in the world. And I highly recommend it because I usually don't do that. I usually am very tuned in. I want to be tuned into everything that's going on. I don't want to miss anything. I have like a big like fear of missing out thing. But I don't know. This vacation, I said, you know what? Let's see. Let me just relax. Let me get away from it because that was the point. I was feeling like I've just been like working so much since you know, the pandemic started, and I wanted to just relax.
Well, let me tell you, we're at a point now where it's going to start getting hot and heavy. But before the Apple stuff comes, some other stuff has come. The Pixel 5a and some of the Samsung foldables I want to talk about real quick my adventure with another pre-order with Samsung, which has gone wrong yet again. Anyone who's watched my channel,
you have the worst luck.
I really do, and it doesn't make any sense because before I became a tech YouTuber, I never had a problem. But for whatever reason, the last time I pre-ordered, I don't even know if it was last time, but the last time I remember pre-ordering a phone was the Galaxy Note 10. I had to order 4 or 5 of them before I got one, and I had to drive around to get that one because I couldn't get it on time otherwise. I had to actually end up going, even though I had pre-ordered it, it didn't come on time for whatever reason, so I had to quickly go out and find one. I went to multiple stores, and it was crazy. Well, this time, the Galaxy Z Fold 3, which I grabbed. I wasn't sure, what I was going to do with it or anything, but I like the Fold 2, so I was like, let me order that. Here we go again. It's on its way, and everyone has had theirs for several days. Mine won't be here till tomorrow, Monday, even though it's 10 minutes from my house. Like, yet again, I'm getting it stupid late. Now, I did call up Samsung, and I was just trying to cancel it, but because it's still technically on its way, they can't cancel it. But they did give me $100 off for it not showing up. Now, remember this last year, when I was going to return the Z Fold 2, they offered me $100 off there. Now, to not return it. I don't know if that'll be the case this time if I do decide to return it, which I very well may, because I don't know that I'm going to be able to cover much Samsung stuff on my channel anymore. It just doesn't really do anything. But I am interested just to play around with it because I saw it in the store, and it does seem better to me than the Fold 2. Everyone's really enjoying the Flip 3, though. Like, yeah, they're really excited about it. And I had to ask on Twitter, like, why is everyone so excited about it? The Flip 2 was fine. Why is everyone excited? And we've talked about the Flip 2 on this channel, or the Flip, really. It wasn't even called the Flip 2 on this channel. And we both have had it. It's cool. But one of the things we said is once it's unflipped, it's just another smartphone. So when I asked people online, like, what's the deal? A lot of people brought about the price is now lower. Yes. And that, we talked about that last week, that the $1,000 price was something that might just put it over the edge, even though it's a pretty, like, you unfold it and you go, okay, it's a phone. But the fact that it is the same price as like a lot of the iPhones or any of the other Galaxies out there really does push it over the edge of like, you know what? Why not? Why not fold it in half? Yeah. So I do want to talk a little bit about, I'm going to do a video about like Apple, what I think they should do as far as flip and fold. But are you going to get either one of these? And if not, why not? I actually did get both of them. I just haven't opened any of them. I got the packages delivered while I was on vacation. I didn't have any of your issues with ordering them. And then midway through the week, my packages got delivered. So they're still sitting in the box. I'm not even sure if I'm going to cover both of them at this point, just because so much time has passed since I've been on, like, since I got them from vacation. I kind of feel like, well, I wish I could have got these like when they came out to cover them. I kind of feel like so many people have covered them already. But if I am going to keep one of them, I think it's probably going to be the Flip, again, just because of the price point. Just because some of the specs this year, I feel like it really holds up as being a really cool phone that I can probably recommend to people. Like, at the end of the day, even if I like the Fold 3, telling people to buy an $1,800 smartphone is still like kind of ridiculous. But with the Flip, it's like, hey, this is the same price as some of the other premium flagship phones you would buy. And it has some nice features this year. They have like a better cover screen. I think it has 120 hertz, right? The refresh rate this time. Yeah. So they're getting premium features this time into that folding phone. And it's at a way better price point. The fact that they got it $400 down this year. It's a big deal. That's good. I'm going to see if I can get the Travis MCP discount, and that might influence my decision. If I can go on Samsung and put in the cancel, and they're like, we'll give you $100 if you keep it, then I think I'm golden. Well, so my Fold hopefully will be here tomorrow. I'll play around with a little bit. I'll talk about why Apple should or should not get into the fold business by kind of showing the Fold. But the Flip and the Fold, for those of you who are not familiar, the Fold kind of folds like a hot dog, and the Flip is more of a kind of old school flip style. And Technically T is here in the chat. He has a YouTube channel. If you haven't heard or seen Technically T, you should go check out his channel. He does some great reviews. He's talking about how he doesn't know what it is about the Flip, but he's really enjoying it, and that it's one of his most favorite phones he's had in a long time. Now, T, along with a lot of other people, including myself, have been kind of, we look at some of the new devices and we're like, okay, they're cool. It's the new spec, the new whatever, right? It's not super exciting. But the fact that T is so interested in and really enjoys the phone so much,
that's actually one of the reasons why I started asking the question on Twitter, because quite frankly, I actually thought that that would be the one that people would sleep on, because it's not, I mean, I get, sure, the price is definitely different, but again, if you really were interested in it, you could have gotten the Z Fold for the Z Flip for like $600 on Amazon Renewed, which I've talked about. So I didn't think that. I'm surprised. I'm surprised at the tech sector. Now, let me be clear. I talked about this in my video, and I think I talked about it here. The Flip wasn't really marketed to tech people. It was real marketed to people who are like into fashion and kind of social media people and that sort of. If you watch the thing, actually just watch my video. I explained it on my video. Anyway, it was not marketed to tech people, but tech people are really enjoying it. So it makes, do you get influenced like that sometimes when you see everyone like getting excited about it? It's like, oh, well, maybe I should. I guess you'll know because you have both. You'll be able to play around with them and see which one you like better.
Yeah, no, I definitely. It's hard for me to get influence at this point because I usually do get it day one. But again, because I was on vacation and because I did have to wait, when I got back, I didn't feel like opening anything and or working on anything till Monday. But I got back and saw like a lot of tweets about the Flip, like people raving about it, like Technically T saying like it's a great phone, stuff like that. He's having so much fun with it. Everyday Dad was talking about the foldable phones this morning, saying like I'm having so much fun with this. So yeah, I definitely am getting a little bit like influenced, a little bit hype, going like, hey, you know what? Yeah, this sounds like fun. I'm looking forward to opening these and checking these out. But I have had experience with the Flip 2 and or was it the Flip 1? I can't remember at this point. I think it was the Flip 1, and then I skipped the 5G model and the Fold 2. So I've had those experiences before. I can't imagine them being that different. Again, I really liked both of those phones. I thought they both had a really great coolness factor. It's just that after like 2 weeks of using it, it ceased to like really like, I felt like I get it, but maybe this isn't necessarily for me. It's a cool thing. Like, unfolding the screen kind of almost never gets old, but the practicality of it for what I use a phone for, in a lot of ways, when I remember using the Flip especially, I felt like I kind of use my phone in bursts. So I pick up my phone real quick, I tweet something out, put it down for a minute, pick it back up, check something, put it down again, do that. And the fact that every time I went to go use the Flip, the fact that I would usually close when I was done, you have to unfold it again. I found that after a while, it felt like an extra step, an extra process into getting into the phone. And that part of that experience, after a while, I started to go, well, this seems more like a disadvantage than an advantage. You're muted.
The Flip and the Fold are really for two different people. Like I said, the on-the-go kind of everyday average person, I think, will get the Flip. The Fold is more productive heavy. Obviously, with the S Pen and I didn't know about this when I made the video, but 100,000%, it absolutely made sense and totally backed what I said when I found out that the Flip doesn't have DeX. It completely backed up what I said about this not being for people who are into tech. It's because those people are not going to, the people who they are really targeting towards are not going to be interested in DeX. Like, they're not going to use it. Here's something interesting though. I'm on Samsung's website. I find it very strange, although I've seen them do this before, which is why I checked. The iPhone 10. So the one I repaired on my channel a while back. I was using it as a trade-in towards the Fold 3. They're going to give me $200 for it, which is way too low, but I just don't want to deal with it, right? If you take that same phone and trade it in towards the Z Flip 3, they'll give you $300. $100 more towards the cheaper phone. So I don't understand the thought behind that, but I could get basically a Z Flip for $700, which is not bad after tax and everything with a silicone thing. But this is one thing I've noticed Samsung has done over the years. I first recognized this last year, where they are altering the trade-in credit depending on what phone you're going for, but weirdly they're giving you less for the more expensive phone and more for the more expensive. I don't understand the thought behind that at all, but Samsung is being still aggressive with their trade-ins, allowing you to trade in multiple phones if you want to get the Fold 3. It is really, really very interesting. Now, here's the thing. These phones finally coming into their own and kind of the quality and the enjoyment people are having.
This is the push that I hope that Apple will need to make their own. And of course, the rumored Pixel Fold looks really beautiful. I don't know if you saw the renders of that. That looks really cool. So we might be coming into a season of foldy / flippable type phones, which I'm in for.
Yeah, I think it's one of the more interesting spaces right now to look at in the smartphone industry is all the foldable phones, because, you know, these last 2 years especially, you look at like an iPhone, you look at any premium Android flagship phone, and they all look kind of the same, you know? Like it's all just like a full screen display in front of you. And it's like, what more can you do with this form factor? And it doesn't really feel like you can improve on it that much other than making some minor subtle changes. So the fact that these form factors are so radically different, the fact that they can literally fold the display, again, anyone, even if you don't like the idea of a folding phone, you have to admit it's so impressive to actually see that be a thing. And it's probably the more interesting space to look at right now in the smartphone industry, because even as cool as the Fold is, even as cool as the Flip is, you can still see a lot of areas where they can make a lot of improvements, especially in like the thickness of something like the Fold. If you could get that even slimmer, you know, if you can increase the display size on the front, if you can make it more like a regular phone and then maybe unfold it into an even bigger tablet, or all these other advancements, it's so exciting to like see that in the space. And it with regular smartphones, it kind of feels perfected. It kind of feels like minor improvements every year. You know, it's kind of like a flat screen TV. It's like, you know, every year they come out with new flat screen TVs, but they kind of look all the same. And then there's just some minor improvements every once in a while. Sometimes there's a bigger improvement, like if you get a new display technology like OLED, and that's exciting. But even after that, then it's more incremental upgrades again. So it kind of feels like that again. We're going to talk about the iPhone 13 later in the show. We'll see if that has any chance of making us excited this year. Usually it does in some way by the time it releases. But, you know, in terms of like rumors and stuff like that, we're expecting such a similar phone this year that it is kind of hard to get excited and go, well, why should I really get an iPhone 13 if I have an iPhone 12?
Yeah, and you know, I just did a correction. They now have upped the trade-in value for an iPhone 10 to $400. But the difference is when I did my pre-order, I also got $200 credit to use in the store, which they're not giving you that anymore. They're just giving you a case. So I think it all kind of balances out. So there's a correction on that. And I agree. I literally just made a video about how I'm kind of bored of my iPhone. But it's not necessarily bored it's not really bored in a bad way. Like it's kind of, yeah, I'm bored, but it works so well. And the biggest problem with iPhones is that only one manufacturer makes them. It's not like Android where you get different kind of interpretations of what Android can be. I mean, I would wonder, like, what would Samsung do with an iPhone? That would be kind of dope. I'd love to see that. You know, I'd love to see what they would try to do. And because what we're going to see is, if I will predict right now, right here, and I feel very confident about this, if Apple goes into foldy, flippy phones, it's going to be the flip style. It's not going to be a fold style. Yeah. I would put so much money on that. I can't even begin to tell you. And it won't be for a while. It'll, you know, the technology will be almost old hat by the time it comes out. So the reason why I think it's going to be the flip and not the fold is because I don't believe that they're going to think that this is and it's not to say they couldn't come out with a fold style pro version, maybe, right? But I don't know if they're going to do that. I practically guarantee they would do a flip version, because again, even Samsung sees who the market is for that type of phone. It's a more wide ranging market than the fold version, and the pricing on an iPhone for either one of these is scary to think about. Hopefully, by the time it does come out, prices on all that stuff have come down. The recent rumor is that prices on a lot of electronic devices are going to go up this year, including the iPhone, because of one of the biggest chip manufacturers in the world having to raise their prices. So we may see high prices on everything, including the upcoming iPhone. If they go much above $100 more per when's the last time they went up on iPhones? Was it last year?
For the price?
Yeah.
I mean, they technically didn't because they still had the mini at $699. But yeah, if you wanted to say like iPhone 11 to iPhone 12, it went up $100.
Yeah. So there's the rumor that it may go up again.
Yet somehow Samsung was able to bring down the prices. That would be a bad look for Apple, but Apple can get away with it. And for some, it's terrible. It's terrible that this is the one thing I really don't like about Apple is that they can get away with this stuff. They can get away with it. People are still going to buy it. People are still going to stand in line at the Apple Store. It's because it's just so solid otherwise. But yeah, I like the flip and fold. I'm really interested to see if Google decides to go down this path. I like it. It's at a very exciting time for smartphones. Finally, it seemed like we were never going to get exciting again, and it's really being spearheaded by Samsung, even though they weren't the first to do it. The under display camera, I've been excited for that because you get it under the display. Some people say it's not as good as it could be. When I get mine tomorrow, I'll play around with it, but I think the technology is going in a good place to kind of make phones fun. And I'm just curious how long it'll take before Apple decides to do something equally interesting.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it'll still be a few years out, but we'll see.
So did you get the Pixel 5a?
I did.
Okay, let's real quickly talk about that because there was some controversy about that I saw when I was kind of just going through Twitter the other day. So for those of you who don't know, the Pixel 5a is kind of the budget version of the Pixel 5, which came out like a year ago. Google comes out with usually the A series of phones, which is their less expensive versions of the phones every year. And this one's, I think, $450, which is a pretty darn good price for all the things you get. Pretty solid phone. And everyone's really waiting for the 6 Pro, which even I'm actually interested in the 6 Pro. I'm kind of looking forward to that. But for now, we have this kind of lower range phone, $450. If you're doing it on payment plan, it's probably a really inexpensive thing. I'll have to look up on T-Mobile and see what their pricing is. But it's a phone for like the masses. It's priced comparatively like really good. And a lot of phones at $450, I would almost say would have a hard time competing with that phone because it's a Google phone. That means that you get your updates pretty darn quick, generally speaking. You usually get your updates pretty quick on Pixel phones. And B, like they have some cool software things that it'll do that, a lot of other phones don't do because Google holds it for their own phones. So with that, it seems like a win all around. Well, us being tech heads and stuff, I guess we're going to push it to the extreme. And, quite frankly, fair enough. Listen, if the option is there, you should be able to use it. Apparently, if you do 4K 60 video recording for not very long, some people are saying that the phone is basically stopping the recording. It's overheating, which is interesting because why would you have the option if it's going to overheat? And so there's a lot of controversy back and forth about, is that a bad thing? Did you experience this, Greg?
Yeah. So I want to talk about this. I want to talk about what's good with this phone first before I tell you the bad, because it's worse than you think. It is worse than you think. But I want to talk about the good parts of this phone because I went on vacation this week. I got a lot of time to take pictures and stuff like that. I spent some time with the 5A, and one of the days I took it out as like one of the only phones I was going to use. I'm like, all right, Pixel has a great camera. Can't wait to test this thing out. I'm going to test out that 4K 60 video thing too. Let me see, is there going to be like this 5-minute time limit or 3-minute time limit that everyone's talking about? Is that a big issue? Can I work around that? Whatever. I was all set to test this phone out and put it through its paces. The good things about this phone are really good. $450 is a great price point. If you look at the design of it, you look at something like Apple offers, like their iPhone SE, which is $400, and you put those two phones side by side, and you look at the Google phone, just looking at it, and you go, "Wow, this is $450." The SE looks ancient. It has like a 4.7-inch screen. It still has big bezels all around it. This Pixel 5a has like a 6.3-inch screen. It's like bezel-less. It has a hole punch camera. It looks like a flagship phone. It's made out of metal, USB-C. Really, really good looking phone for the price point. And a lot of these Android phones are, to be fair. Like a lot of these Android phones look really good. It has I think it had the same processor as the Pixel 5. So, not like the fastest flagship processor, but it should still be pretty good. The battery life on this thing, Travis, you start asking yourself at $450, what do people need out of a smartphone? What do people need out of a smartphone? And I would say they need a big display nowadays, because that seems to be a selling point. This phone has a big display, OLED, 1080p, I believe, for the resolution. Everything there, great. It has I think the performance is good enough for most people. I don't think you put this phone in front of someone, they start using it, I don't think they'll be like, wow, it's too slow, I can't use it. Like, I think we're kind of past that point with even the budget smartphones, and that's great to see. And then you would probably say battery life, right? Battery life is super important for most people buying a smartphone. It's one of the reasons when I reviewed the iPhone SE, I went, well, this is a really good phone. It has a really great flagship processor in it. The design's a little bit older, but maybe you like that. But the battery life's kind of hard to deal with because, phones these days have excellent battery life. And this Pixel 5a might have one of the best batteries I've ever tested in a phone. It is truly outstanding. I cannot kill it in a day. It lasts all day long. I could probably go 2 days heavy usage on the Pixel 5a, make it through both those days. Like, the battery life on the 5a is amazing, and it's $450. So when you look at the things that people really need in a smartphone, they want a big display, they want good enough performance, I think. They want the best battery life possible. The 4A nails all of that at $450. The last thing I think people really care about with a smartphone is a camera. Now, on other budget smartphones, this is where you would take the biggest hit, is in the camera. You would get a budget smartphone and the pictures aren't going to be as good. Travis would tell you can load up Gcam and all that stuff, and that's true, and you can get a lot better pictures just by using Google software. But let's just say you're a basic user, you're buying a phone, you don't want to bother them with all that. You want to say, here's a good phone with great battery life and a good camera. Well, the Pixel has that. The Pixel has that advantage. You get it out of the box, you start taking pictures with it, and you get really amazing pictures. Some people might say that for $450, maybe you get better pictures than a $1,000 iPhone. There are people in that camp that say the Pixel is definitely better than an iPhone. And you get that great stills camera. Then there's the video quality, which isn't like as good. Maybe, okay, it falls apart there because it can't do the processing. But that's not the main issue. Travis alluded to it before. Okay, 4K 60, Travis, right? That's something that not most people are going to use on a smartphone, I think, right? It's not like a big deal if you can't record in 4K 60. Well, on this trip, I started off, right? I went to the beach. I left my phone like in a shaded area, not like in direct sunlight. I can understand if I left it in direct sunlight. You don't do that with any phone. If I left my iPhone in direct sunlight, it would overheat, But I left it like under the umbrella. It was fine. I took out my 5A to take some pictures. I took like 3 photos and I'm like, oh, let me try the video out. I go to do a 4K 60 video, Travis. It won't let me do it. The phone is too hot, it says. It can't, and I'm holding it in my hands. It doesn't feel hot to me, So I go to record a 4K 60. I don't even get the option to do it, Travis. It won't even let me start the recording. So I'm like, okay, that stinks. Whatever. Let me do 4K 30. Travis, it overheated in 1 minute and 30 seconds. At 4K 30. So, and as I'm recording the video, I'm pretty sure there's like frames being dropped like left and right. Like I could see it like stuttering and lagging as I'm recording the video. So it overheats to that point, and then it overheats to a point where I believe, and I have to check my footage for this. I believe I was even having like you basically couldn't use the camera. It was like, let this thing cool down before you use it. And that really irked me. If it couldn't do 4K 60 or if it was on a 3-minute time limit, okay, whatever. Like some of the Pixels couldn't even do 4K 60. So maybe if you get a minute out of it, that's better than not having it, right? At least you have the option to maybe get some of this footage. The fact that I couldn't even record video is a deal breaker on any smartphone for me. I don't care what the price point is, $450, whatever. If I can't record 4K video, 30 frames per second on a modern day smartphone, I think that's outrageous. Because listen, this is the normal everyday scenario. I'm on vacation. I want to take a video of what's going on. That's something people do all the time, right? They want to get a short video. The fact that I went into the camera app and it said, you cannot record video, not even that I couldn't record 30 seconds of it or a minute of it, that means I could have missed a moment of like something I was really trying to capture. Like if you have a family and your child's like doing something amazing and you want to capture that moment, you whip out the Pixel and it says you can't record video, you are going to be so frustrated. You are going to be so angry at the person that recommended that phone to you. you are going to like, that's when people are going to come into the comment section and go, you're a shill. Like, how could you recommend this phone? I was on vacation. I couldn't take photos. It overheated. It was an awful experience. So it was really bad, Travis. Like, I couldn't believe that it overheated this quickly. And I've also used previous Pixel phones like the 3A, and I did not have this issue on like 4K 30. Yeah. So I don't know what's wrong here. I don't know if it's a software problem that they can fix it. I don't know if it's a hardware problem where this is just going to be the way it is. But even at 450, again, the iPhone SE looks old, right? It looks old. The battery life isn't as good. Has an LCD screen. There's a lot of weaknesses to that phone. I know if I pull out that phone and I go to record a video, it's going to record a video. Right. It's going to record it. It's going to take pictures. It's not going to tell me it's overheating in normal use case scenario. This was like, and this wasn't like, it was like noon, Travis, like noon out in the sun. This is at like 5 p.m. on like 84-degree day. You expect the smartphone to perform.
Yeah.
So I want it to like this phone a lot. And before this happened to me, I really did like the phone. I was about to give it like a glowing review and go 450, if you're into Android, if you don't care about wireless charging, if you just need a phone that does all the work, you don't care about all the bells and whistles of some of these like really outrageous, expensive smartphones, you should buy this phone. But after this video recording issue, I cannot recommend this phone unless you never record video, which I feel like is probably, I don't know. I feel like video is so popular now. Everyone has TikToks now. Everyone goes on Instagram. Maybe most people don't have a YouTube channel, but people are uploading videos. People are taking personal videos so much. People are trying to capture moments. You see, like, even if we go into like people getting pulled over by the police, you know what I mean? These are tools now that are so important in our daily lives. It's more than capturing a memory. Like, what if you had the Pixel 5a, you go to record a video of like this police interaction and it overheats and then you don't have that evidence anymore, So that is just something I can't recommend. Like I will say in my review, if you don't record video, okay, go ahead and buy the phone. But if you record any sort of video on your phone, I can't recommend it. I just can't. And I'm very disappointed in this phone.
All right. I want to dissect parts of this. Someone's asking, have you tried 1080p, which is important to understand.
I didn't try 1080p, but I
was now here's one of my questions. Was it defaulted at 4K or did you change it to 4K?
Ooh, I believe I changed it to 4K.
Okay. So a couple of things. I don't want to let Google off the hook here. Literally would have taken no time for someone in Q&A to test this and go, this is probably not a good idea. Hide it in software. Just don't have the ability to record it if it's a poor experience. Just that's the fix. You take some software, you take away those two options, and now you just say, well, it's 1080p. And now everyone goes, oh, that's weird. It only has 1080p, but you don't have the situations that you're talking about. Mm-hmm. So now let me ask you, in your opinion, if based on what you experienced versus what if it had always been sold as a 1080p phone and it didn't have the 4K options, would your opinion change in some way or would it be the same?
That's assuming that it wouldn't overheat in 1080p. And honestly, it's probably something I should have tested while I was out there. Again, I always record in 4K at this point. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've never heard anyone talk about 1080p overheating. So I think we can probably safely assume it does. If it doesn't, then that's just scandal of the year. Like, let me make my video today. If it can't just straight up record anything.
Listen. If they want to sell this phone and put a warning every time you go into 4K and go, this may overheat in 4K, maybe you could make the argument that this is, whatever, okay, it's going to overheat in 4K. Yeah, I guess you can make that argument, but
or what if they remove the option?
Remove the
4K. 4K. Remove 4K because it's obviously not stable. If they remove the option and remove it from the marketing, how do you feel about the phone then?
I don't know. I really don't know. I just feel like 4K is basic at this point. I
mean, it is. Don't get me wrong. There are
tons of phones. I don't know. Like
at that price point, they can hit 4K. I just want to be clear about that. But I'm just asking, if it is marketed differently and they just remove that because it's not stable, does that change your thought and your opinion on the phone?
It changes my thoughts a little bit, because then, you know, if you're not a big video person, you don't care about the resolution, everything else about this phone is great. It's really good. But the fact that I've had such an awful experience with 4K, the fact that I can't remember any smartphone, even going back to the 3A, having this problem when recording 4K, right? There's no stories about 4K overheating in the 3A. I know I personally never had any issues of it telling me it overheated with 4K video. Yeah, I just don't know. I feel like 4K is it's a basic feature in 2021 to have 4K video recording. To me, recording video is very important. I actually think I prefer video sometimes to pictures of things. I like to take like a small video almost anywhere I go, because I feel like that is a better memory in some stance. I could watch it and go, okay, I remember that. That's fun. Obviously, I do YouTube. I'm biased here with my opinion, right? Maybe the video resolution isn't as important as I think it is. But yeah, it would change my opinion if there was no 4K feature on it. And if I can guarantee you that it won't overheat in 1080, I just don't know, because all the things I heard was that it overheated at 4K 60.
Right.
I had it overheat at 4K 30 in 1 minute and 30 seconds. I am not confident that the 1080p wouldn't overheat. I'm not confident that, again, I'm the only person I seen on the internet that had these issues in 4K 30. So
regardless, it's unstable.
Do a test and test it for myself, because another thing that I'm just, and I don't want to accuse anyone of anything. Look, there's a lot of problems with this, not from a consumer space of like, let me decide which features are important. I will give you my review. I will tell you, I will give you the glowing about everything else. That's why I want to start with the good. There's so much good about this phone. If that doesn't bother you, you should buy this phone, because, okay, it doesn't bother you. Phones have pros and cons, right? Every phone has a pro and a con. If you can get this phone for $450, get that 2-day battery life, and you're fine with the video, you know, maybe overheating, or maybe use 1080 and it doesn't overheat, you're going to love this phone. It's going to be a great phone for you. If you're on vacation, though, and you go to record like a 4K video because you want a higher quality video, you know, every TV you go in, you buy like a $300 TV nowadays, it's in 4K. It's like the standard resolution. You're going to be super disappointed with it, I think, because if it's overheating at 84 on an 84-degree day at 5 p.m., I don't know. I don't like, what if I'm recording at noon on like 90 degrees? You know what I mean? Like, is it going to be,
you can't trust it.
Like, I can't trust it. And that's super important. And it's not even that the video, it's not even that, the video overheated. It's like the phone becomes almost unusable when it overheats, because then you can't do other things with it. Then you go to take a picture and all of a sudden it starts lagging. You go to like scroll and it starts you know what I mean? So it's more than even just the video camera. There's a heat issue with this phone. And I don't know where in the design this is, or if it's just, hopefully it's a software thing. Hopefully they go, you know what? We messed up this setting. We flipped the switch and everything is fine. But at this point, I can't review it based on any future promises.
Yeah, and it's just a strange. I think that the easiest and probably the best thing for them to do is if the software update can't fix the issue, then the software update needs to remove the option and just be done with it and move forward.
People will be mad about that too, though, because then they'll go, well, you had the option to do it.
Yeah, well, but you might as well get rid of the tech support issues and customer service returns and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, nip it in the bud right now, because it's only going to get worse. You can't just leave it there as a broken option. You just can't do that. And if you have any kind of significant percentage of people not able to use this particular option, then it's broken. So just go ahead and be done with it. It's over. It's a wrap. Yeah.
I will try out the 1080p before I do my review. I will try the same. I'll try and do the same scenario I did when it overheated for me. But another thing I don't really like, and this isn't really about the phone. It's just the reactions I've seen on like Twitter about this issue, and people like downplaying it like it's not an issue. It's an issue. I had the issue happen to me. It bothered me that I couldn't record video of something I wanted to record video of in that moment as I took this phone out as my only phone. You know what I mean? So the fact that it couldn't do something at that moment was hugely frustrating to me. And I've seen so much sentiment on Twitter going, it's not an issue. It's not an issue. It doesn't matter. It's a $450 phone. You need to, you know, I don't know. You need to give it a pass because it's cheaper. And yeah, 450 is a great deal, but I don't know. I can go get an iPhone from 4 years ago. It records 4K. It never overheated. Like, I feel like it's, you know, why should I can go buy an iPhone 10R? It can do 4K. That's like almost the same price as a Pixel 5a. So why should I give this a pass? You know,
I 100% agree. I think that there's something to be said about them trying maybe a little bit too hard to push something that probably shouldn't have been pushed that far just to hit specs. But they just have to really think about who the people are that are buying this phone. I mean, I don't know. It just seems weird. It seems like they did something that they didn't have to do, and now it's biting them in the butt. Hopefully, now it just makes everyone wonder, well, is a Pixel 6 Pro going to have any problems? Probably not. But if they can't do a cheap phone good, where's my faith that the really expensive phone, which is what we're expecting, will be something that you can really rely on? I hope we can. All right. So let's talk a little bit about the iPhone 13 as the information starts to come in. We're going to be able to pre-order this thing in the next couple of weeks as we expect the actual presentation to happen, I think, on like the 14th, of September, which is only a couple of weeks away. And what's the latest? What is the latest that you know to be the iPhone 13? Which I was just gonna say I'm not excited right now. It's gonna take a lot for them to excite me about this, and they'll do a good job because their marketing team is ridiculously good. But what about the iPhone 13 has you? What should people know about it? And is there anything that has you excited?
Yeah, I don't know. I think this is going to be either a phone that is not exciting because there's not enough updates, or it may surprise us with the small changes done in a few certain areas to make it a much more whole, a much more polished product. I know a lot of people were disappointed last year that the iPhones didn't have 120 hertz. It looks like that's going to happen this year. There's rumors that the notch is going to be smaller. Personally, I think that's kind of like, who cares at this point? But whatever, people have been like asking for that for so long. So there'll be a different design change there where people will be like, oh, I want that. Some of the camera features we're hearing about with portrait mode for video. And I forget what the other feature was that was interesting. It was something about being able to like edit the video. Oh, ProRes. There's going to be ProRes video, which is a pro format, which a lot of YouTubers I think will really like. Enough of those small features being introduced into this. I think one of the more recent things I heard was that they're using new Face ID tech that may be in the iPhone 13, and it may be able to unlock your face, do a face unlock even when you're wearing like glasses and a face mask. So apparently they're going to be able to like fix that. It's maybe one of the reasons why we were hearing rumors at the beginning that they were going to put Touch ID into the phones, but it doesn't look like that's coming. So maybe they found a better solution with their Face ID tech, and maybe that's going to be improved to a point where it doesn't bother you as much. So I think we look at all like these little rumors we're hearing, and if you do one rumor, if you go, oh, the iPhone's going to have 120 hertz, well, who cares? Like, okay, Android phones have had that. Oh, the iPhone's going to have portrait video. Well, maybe it's going to be really good portrait video. But I believe like people like Samsung have had portrait video before. And the Face ID tech and all this stuff getting better. But you start to add it up and you compare it against the iPhone 12. And if enough of those features make enough of an improvement over the 12, it might actually end up being a phone that you get excited for, that you're happy that you bought. And Apple needs to do that because on paper, you look at a lot of these changes, and it doesn't sound like anything that's going to be too groundbreaking or a big improvement over the iPhone 12. Personally, I don't think that's a bad thing either. I think at this point, if you're a normal consumer, If I was an everyday person, I wasn't doing YouTube, I would not replace my phone every year. It's probably the biggest waste of money you could do. These improvements are getting smaller and smaller every year. And, you know, if I was buying a phone, if I had like an iPhone 11, I wouldn't have bought a 12. I probably wouldn't buy this phone. Maybe I'd buy next year's phone. So I think it's a good problem for consumers to have. You're not probably going to get too excited to go rush out and buy this. It's not the old days where you get an iPhone and they release the iPhone 3G and all of a sudden there's so many life improvements that the old phone almost becomes obsolete. We're not in that moment anymore. These phones are basically computers. You don't replace your laptop every year. Well, normal people don't. You don't replace your laptop every year. You don't replace your desktop every year. You don't have to replace your phone every year. You don't have to replace it every 2 years. That's why contracts have mostly went away. You can get by with a phone for 3 years, probably 4 years, 5 years if you do some battery replacements. So that's the world we're in. If you miss the old world of smartphones getting huge upgrades where you felt like you needed to upgrade every year, I think those days are long behind us at this point. With that being said, though, if you're upgrading from an older phone, enough quality of life features to this iPhone 13 could be enough to make it a super polished experience to where Travis goes, you know what? This phone sounded really boring, but the fact that they have bigger batteries this year, 120 hertz, better cameras, when I add all this stuff up together, this is a really solid phone.
Well, so there's another thing that just recently came out from Kuo Ming-chi, which is an interesting
I saw this.
LEO satellite communication thing, which, by the way, we're so close to the 13 coming out that something this big technologically it almost seems like no.
I immediately discounted it because I read that. I'm like, why is this coming out like
3 weeks from now?
The phone release? But hey, if this is true, okay, I'm getting a 13. Like,
The thing is, to me, I'm reading this. So for those who don't know, low Earth orbit satellites would apparently give you some connectivity to make calls and messages if you don't have 4G or 5G service. Now, by and large, the vast majority of people with phones are not going to ever be able to use this technologies, which is another reason why I'm like, why would they bother investing in this unless it's just a stupid, cheap thing to put into the phone? Because while there are people that do have issues, in rural areas or whatever, I don't know that this is such a need that you need to force it into this particular phone unless it's not that expensive to put in. Like for me, I just don't get it. Matter of fact, I would say, I don't know. Listen, he knows more than me. I'm not a leaker. It seems highly sus. If it's in there, that is a great selling point. It goes along with a bunch of other things that Apple has been trying to do as far as, quality of life improvements, like actual quality of life improvements. But I think the vast majority of people who would buy this would never get a chance to use that feature. Having said that, I'm not against it being something that can be used because every so often you're in an area where there's nothing. There's just nothing. And you feel hopeless or helpless, especially if your car breaks down. Now you're screwed. This would eliminate that as a potential bad place where you're in the highway, maybe going between two places where there's just bad coverage with a phone, and you still will be able to make calls or texts or whatever, which is great. I just don't know if this is the year for that. If it is, it's a strange thing because I feel like it's bridging the gap between the 12 and the 13, which I think this would normally be a 12S. If it seems like Apple's just not even doing S's anymore, which I kind of don't blame them. They're not going to admit that it's just a half measure anymore. But it would feel like an S type upgrade. The first time that the S I think was really a great upgrade was Siri. Was it 4S, right?
Yeah.
That's when Siri came out. That was like, holy crap, that's crazy. Like the voice assistant and all this, like that was cool. Every other time after that, it's been kind of this is an S phone. I don't care if they call it 13 or not. Very definitively, this is an S upgrade year. And until we start to see some major changes in design and stuff, I'm considering this a 12S regardless of what they call it. So it's going to take a lot for me to be excited about this. It doesn't mean I'm not going to get it. I probably will have to just by virtue of having a YouTube channel. I keep saying that, but it's true. Mm-hmm. But I'm not excited. When I see the presentation, I will probably be mildly excited. And then, of course, when it's being delivered, I'll probably be a little bit excited because, when you get the thing, you open it like, yeah, it's my new iPhone, But, I mean, I'm going to be real. Like, it's not something that I'm, like, super amped about. I feel like I just got my 12 Pro Max. I just got the cases. I mean, I got the cases when I got them, but I feel like I just got this case. It feels like I just got the case. Well, some of these I did just get.
So, and I just now got a MagSafe charger, desktop charger. It was like $30 on Amazon. It's like a stand thing.
Mhm.
So they better, I haven't heard anything about MagSafe. They better keep MagSafe. Now, I assume it's going to be in there. Everyone would assume that, but sometimes Apple or other manufacturers just drop things that they don't see a lot of usage. I assume it's going to be in there. There's no reason to think it's not. But wouldn't that be something? It's like, oh yeah, no MagSafe.
No, I think MagSafe is in there. If anything, they said it was going to get stronger this year, which would be cool. Good. Yeah, I feel like this satellite feature, just to single it out, I don't know. It sounds like kind of fishy to me that it's so last minute, but maybe the fact that it is so last minute and it's such a random thing that no one was saying was coming, it might actually just be true. Because like no one was saying this. It's kind of like a bold prediction to make 2 weeks out from an event. You think maybe you hedge your bet and go, yeah, it's coming to the next one maybe. But the fact that he goes iPhone 13 to support LEO, whatever, unless this is the 12S, then he has an out, right? That's
no, I told you it's 13 and this is the 12.
Yeah. So yeah. And personally, I think they are done with the S names. I would be surprised if it was S, just because these names are becoming such a mouthful now.
Yeah.
iPhone 12S Pro Max. It's getting a little ridiculous at this point. So I don't think they're ever going to do S names again. And it's almost become like a joke in the tech industry of like, don't buy the S cycle. So it works against them. They shouldn't call it an S anymore. Like it's become that point where people have kind of figured out these marketing names, and to call it something brand new, to just call it the 13 and then the 14 and the 15, to keep doing that, it makes it feel newer than maybe it even is, So I think marketing wise, it's smart just to call it the 13 and move on from there.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not terribly, I don't know. I need Apple to hit me with something really cool. I think if the coolest thing, and I've said this for the last couple of weeks, if they do it, the coolest thing that actually will make me excited from Apple is the redesigned iPad mini. I'm still gonna freak out about that. You might think, well, that's not very much different, but I don't care. I've always loved the iPad mini, and all I need is it to be, the newer design, and I'm all over that thing. I think Sonny Dixon's in the chat. I think he probably has I think he's had some molds or something that he's shown us. Just give me the darn thing, Sonny. Give me a picture of the actual thing. That's what I want. I don't want the mold. Show me the actual thing.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to the mini as well. That's probably like one of the most hype products for me, because I love the iPad mini and I just want a modern redesign of it. And I'll buy it day one for sure.
What I'm hoping is hopefully this coming up month, especially with the Apple event and everything, which we'll probably have to do a Gadget Cast very shortly after. I know that Greg and I will probably be making videos, but we really need to do a Gadget Cast because I'm hoping that the viewership and listenership goes up. It's been down, I think, mainly because people are out in the summertime, and we expect all of those people to come back. But I really want to do some big things, maybe a big Gadget Cast, Supercast like we used to do once the iPhone 13 is announced, and talk about that. Maybe we'll have like Renee on and stuff like that. Maybe we'll do that again. It's really, really important for us to cover that really tightly. And as I get my Fold 3, I'll give my absolute opinions next week. And I think Greg can do the same because he'll have both his Fold and Flip. And we'll have a good time there. I think what we should do is shut this down, and then do a little aftercast. There's some people in the chat that have some questions I think we should answer. Yeah. But for me, I think for the Gadget Cast itself, I'm pretty good. How about you?
I'm good. Let's end it.
All right, everyone. Thank you for listening. Make sure you leave us a comment. I saw some new reviews come in.
Did you want to read those?
Yeah, we did. Actually, let's real quick read a couple of the latest reviews. I think I sent you something. Where is it? Where was it? August 21st. Oh, this was a while back. So it was a while ago. Let's see where. So if you're on Apple and you want to leave us a review, we will try to read it on the air. We've had some really cool reviews.
I got a couple. Let's see.
Yeah, go ahead.
This guy is Jonah the Whale from Great Britain. Says, love Greg and Travis. I love Greg and Travis. Great tech podcast. Been listening for ages now, and it's the podcast I keep coming back to. Fun guys. Edit. Oh, one thing I don't like though, the iJustine space travel thing. It totally spoils the once galactically awesome intro. Please get rid of it. Who is? Oh, come on! What the heck? I don't want to do this.
We don't want to do that.
How could you? How could you?
Anything else?
I'm upset about the iJustine. It was a 5-star review though, but iJustine's awesome. Why don't you like iJustine?
We love iJustine.
You don't know who iJustine is? You know who Willie Do is? You don't know who iJustine is? Come on,
man.
Get your head out of the sand. iJustine's great. I think we keep the iJustine space travel going forward. I would love to just keep adding on to space travels. I would love to get a Renee space travel. Everyday Dad, we got to get him to say space travel. Luke,
that's a great idea.
We got them all going down. The GadgetCast intro is just gonna eventually be 30 minutes of people saying space travel.
Space travel.
Okay? Maybe we can randomize it. You know, you don't know what you're gonna get. You don't know. We'll put it in like a randomizer. All right.
Yeah.
This is a 4-star review, so you got to go back and change that to a 5-star review. This is from. I can't even pronounce this. I'm sorry. But he's from South Africa. I recently got into tech podcasts. My main focus has been tech videos on YouTube. And my first taste was the Genius Bar, which I found a little too haphazard and lacking format or taste. Oh yeah. The hosts were more interested in talking about their personal lives for 2 hours than covering tech. And it's like, bruh, I don't know you. I don't care. However, GadgetCast seems to be a bit more structured than that. And they actually have bullet points that they are working through. We don't. There were 1 or 2 awkward silences. This seems to be common, as I've heard it in 2 to 3 podcasts I've listened to, and it interrupts the flow of conversation, but I do appreciate their to-the-point approach. So got to work on those awkward silences. But I do agree, he titles this much better than Genius Bar. I think you go back and rate us a 5-star for much better than Genius Bar personally. And John Prosser and Sam Cole, they're a little too full of themselves. They talk too much about themselves. Me and Travis have no ego, so we're not going to do that, you know. So we're good to go. Let's see. We got a couple more, right? Love the show. Easily one of my favorite tech podcasts out there. Keep it up, Greg and Travis. There's some weird names. Geox Tigers?
Go Tigers?
No.
Yeah. The GUEUX is, I think it's actually pronounced go.
Is it? Like, go Apple and go Tigers? Wow. Yeah. Huh, I didn't know that. Well, this one's titled Journ for the Win, but it's a great podcast and it's a 5-star.
Oh, okay.
Dear Apple, send them an iPhone SE.
Yeah. Why not?
Sure, why not? I'll take it, Apple. Give me an iPhone SE.
Sure, send it over.
All right, that's it.
All right, cool. Well, if you want to do that, go down to the Apple Podcast, leave us a review or send us an email or voicemail. Their links are in the description of the YouTube video or in the show notes of the audio podcast. We thank you so much for joining us. If you're here for the Aftercast, hang out with us. Everyone else, we'll see you next week. And that's how you do a GadgetCast. That's how you do a GadgetCast. We have some Sunny D for Sunny D. Sunny D, you could do a space travel if you want to. We could do that. It's so hard to sneak a phone. Yeah, I bet, man. I bet. I'm sure it is. Yeah, so let's do a couple quick question and answers. I saw there was a big question earlier. We'll take a look at this from Alex as soon as Greg gets back. Well, I'll give my answer on this. So 10 years, I think you have to look at it from the standpoint of what a CEO is supposed to do. And a CEO is supposed to make the company more money, and he has been able to do that highly successfully. I really can't say that he is. I think he's a great CEO for what most CEOs are in the business to be a CEO for.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You can only look at what he's done, and Apple's the most successful company in the world right now. They make tons of money. Tim Cook is largely responsible for the supply chain that Apple has, their amazing supply chain. The fact that they can get all these products out in such vast amount of numbers and stuff like that. So this is the guy that Steve Jobs picked. He's done a great job running the company. Obviously, every person's going to have a few misses here or there. They definitely have a few misses in the decision making during his tenure, but overall, a stellar track record. I mean, when Steve Jobs died, I thought, who's going to replace Steve Jobs? I don't think anyone can replace him. And Tim Cook had tremendous shoes to fill. I think he's done it. And it's to the point now where I think who can replace Tim Cook? Like that's where I'm at now. So I read these stories that he's going to retire in 2025 or something like that. Apparently he wants to launch one more product, Travis, one more groundbreaking product before he leaves, maybe the Apple glasses or something like that. And I think who's going to replace him? So I think that's a success if you're wondering who can do the job after that.
A couple more questions we can take before we head out. I know Nathan is ready to go to the potty. I'm going to take him potty in a second. Anywhere on Galaxy S22? I think there's probably some rumors out there, but I mean nothing that seems super solid that I would. Completely about Genius Bar. I listen a lot of tech, but Genius Bar can't get through it. They barely talk about tech. It's listen, it's John, and I love John, and I love Sam. They're great guys. It's more of a personality based podcast. Nothing wrong with that, but you just got to know what you're getting when you get into it. You see Austin Evans where a video on. Yes, I actually just watched that today, Philip. So there is a new revision of the PlayStation 5, and apparently it's a cost reducing measure, which is not unusual. It's completely unusual, but it actually causes more heat, which the interesting, of course, for a long-lasting electronics product, that's terrible. It also may, and now they didn't do the performance. I need Digital Foundry to get on this.
Yeah.
And find out if it actually affects the performance, because the device should throttle if it sees something too hot, which means if this device is too hot, because if you haven't seen the video, Greg, basically they changed out the heatsink to a cheaper heatsink and it's not as efficient. So it lets it get hotter, which could adversely affect the performance. Now, I don't know that that's the case. I'm just hypothesizing, and I need Digital Foundry on this immediately.
Yeah, I'd be worried about that. I'm glad I got a launch PS5, which usually isn't the case. Usually they make more improvements. To see them downgrade it is concerning to me.
Yeah, watch the video. It's really good.
Yeah, I'm looking for Digital Foundry. Those guys do an excellent job. They'll let you know if it's an issue.
All right, here you go, Greg.
Do I think Apple will announce an M1X MacBook Pro /Air this September, or do you think they'll announce this next year? I think they'll announce the M1X MacBook Pro this fall. I don't think it will be September. It may be, but I think by the end of this year, you will have a new M1X MacBook Pro, whether that's in September, October, or November. Before the end of this year, based on all the rumors, based on their timeline, the Pro should be this year. And as Sonny Dixon points out in the chat, we should expect the Air next year, and it should be a different chip, not M1X, probably M2 or something like that. I wanted to show you this. I don't know if I can play it.
What is it?
I have to, it should upload it to my Google photo. I guess I could just show you on the phone. This was my little walk doing when it burned out at 1 minute and 29 seconds. And just look how, I don't know if it would, see how choppy this is?
Whoa. Oh man, that's not good.
Look at all those drop frames. It's choppy. So even the video that you're getting out of this is 4K 30, not 60 too. 4K 30.
You need to upload a clip of that to like Twitter and stuff. That's terrible.
Yeah, this is 4K 30 and it is stuttering. It looks like you're playing like a game with an awful graphics card.
Yeah,
like,
really.
That's what it looked like on video. So not only did it overheat after 1 minute and 30 seconds, it couldn't even do the job of recording the video properly. And it's stuff like that is bad. It makes me question how good even 1080p performance would be on it if it can't do a 4K 30 clip. Maybe it won't do that to 1080p, but maybe 1080p overheats at some point too. I don't know if people are really testing that. Maybe people don't expect that, so they're not even going to test that. I will do that. I will try and test it the best I can. I guess I could like go in my car, and that'll be pretty hot enough to test if that's an issue. I'd probably do it outside though. That's more realistic.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Well, we appreciate you coming on through. We'll definitely be seeing you guys and gals probably next week. And we hope you all have a great time. Of course, you can reach out to us on Twitter. All the links and everything are in the description below. We'll see you guys next week. Peace and love.